Welcome back. This is episode 156, Troy of the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. My name is Josh. I'm here, Troy. It's Sunday afternoon. Been another busy hockey-filled weekend. This time for the both of us, though, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I had, let's see, kids stuff, obviously. Son had games, but then we had 3 high school games this week, which is we usually have 2, but we had to have 3. All's right with the world. We beat Eden Prairie in overtime, which was a little too close. I don't think it should have been that close. We beat Hill Murray, who beat us earlier in the year. So, and I can't remember who we played earlier this week. Wayzata. So we beat Wayzata, Hill Murray, Eden Prairie.
We had a little bit of a pickle today.
No.
Your son has a game this evening. My daughter is in a tournament, and they were in the semifinals this morning. Now, had they won, I'm kind of skipping ahead, I guess, a little bit here. We wouldn't have been able to record till like 11 o'clock tonight, and it would have been sleepy gong show after dark, I'm sure. So we're playing Wayzata, one of the bigger school districts in the state of Minnesota.
Yeah.
Huge school. The biggest high school I've ever seen in my life. And our high school is big. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And game's tied, goes into overtime. Per the tournament rules, there's a 5-minute running clock overtime. It's tied. We go to shootout. Wayzata team shoots first. They miss. And then out comes my daughter onto the ice for the first shot.
Nice.
My wife's about to have a heart attack. And I guess that she actually volunteered to do it. Goes backhand 5-hole, scores a goal.
Nice.
We end up losing, though.
Oh.
Yeah. But, well, at least we could record and being somewhat awake. So I'm kind of happy about that. But because we were so busy with hockey this weekend, too, I missed almost all of Hockey Day Minnesota. Well, I did miss all of it.
I was at the game, our Tonka game, so I just watch scores every once in a while, but I didn't see any clips or anything.
You had 2 games yesterday?
So we had varsity and JV, and then Connor had a game too. So,
and then was the reason why you played for Hockey Day Minnesota?
I don't think so. I think we were scheduled to play anyways. We did. So we kind of flipped it. Usually JV goes first and then varsity, but we flipped it. Varsity went first and then JV, and the boys played after us. And it was a whole maze of getting people over to different rinks, and it worked out. But yeah, it was a little crazy. It's weird playing varsity first before JV. But
for those outside of Minnesota, so Hockey Day Minnesota is a Saturday every year around this time where they make a kind of a big to-do. They do an outdoor arena, sort of like a miniature version of a Winter Classic.
Yeah.
Where they will play high school games all throughout the day. The Gophers always play. They don't play outdoors, though, do they?
Yeah, they're outdoors.
Oh, the Gophers play outdoors.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about the high school game. No, Gophers play Mankato State indoors.
Gotcha. And then it culminates with a home Wild game. And so what younger people that maybe we would have done 20 years ago will do is they'll get up in the wee hours in the morning and we'll go to the high school games and then the college game. And if you can hit the trifecta, the Wild game at night, you can spend the whole day watching hockey. This year, though, would have been completely impossible because the high school games were in War Road, which is, well, you guys did it last weekend, right?
Yeah.
For a tournament.
6 to 7 hours north, basically Canada.
And it's almost like dirt roads getting there. There's no like freeway getting to War Road, but I know the Wild lost, right?
Yeah, of course.
Gophers win?
Oh, that's a good question. I know the girls Gophers won in overtime. So maybe wait. I don't know who the Gopher boys played. I'd have to look it up. I said Mankato State. I think that was the girls.
Yeah, between working on the show and a hockey tournament, there's little to no time to watch hockey. I think the only thing I did is check ESPN once.
Michigan State. The boys played Michigan State.
They win?
I believe so, yes.
Oh, nice. Okay, there you go. At least something could happen. All right, tons to get into today. Huge show. Really quick, though, again, before we get started, just a reminder that the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast is a Patreon podcast, which means that we really rely on the support of listeners like yourself to help us cover our show expenses. Believe it or not, there are expenses to this show. To produce more and hopefully better, I don't know how we could produce more, but we'll call it better hockey card content, and then fun initiatives, even in a small way, to grow the hockey hobby. It's very easy to support us. We do it through Patreon. We have a support level tier called our out of 199, I guess, tier. Be one of the first 100, 200 supporters of our show. It's $5 a month. Very easy to do. You can go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, click on the Become a Patron link, or you can go to the Patreon website directly at patreon.com and search for Hockey Cards Gong Show. If you want, there's a link in the show description. If you're listening to us on a podcast app, there's also a link in our YouTube description and then our Instagram and TikTok profiles as well. All right, man. Should we get going? The game plan?
Yeah, let's do it. On today's show, we begin with the almost greatest NHL player to wear number 56. Then it's off to Who's Hot in the Struggle Bus. This is followed by Hobby News. We then take a look at the top 10 players that are 21 years of age or under. That will be fun and exciting. Josh did about 18 hours of research and came up with some good info.
Well, we were talking right before we started that was one of those projects that was good idea on the front end. And then when I was in the weeds, I almost gave up, but I powered through.
All right. Then we look at new product releases. And this is followed by the Gong Show mailbag and our personal pickups. Okay, Josh. Previously, we looked at the greatest NHL player that wore the number that matched our episode number. We ran through the numbers, so now we are looking at the almost greatest NHL player to wear each number from the runners up in the Hockey Writers Greatest NHL Player to Wear Each Number article. So the almost greatest NHL player to wear number 56 per the nominees in the Hockey Writers Greatest NHL Player to Wear Each Number article, and selected by me. It's this guy, Josh. He's one of ours, Erik Haula. Actually, I should say he played for the Wild. He's not from here, but he played for the Wild.
And for our college team too, Golden Gopher, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, he did. The other runner-up at number 56 was Marco Dano, and it wasn't even close. Haula had way better stats than Marco Dano, so I went with him. And as a reminder, the greatest to wear number 56 was Sergei Zubov. Okay, Josh, I'm going to put a disclaimer in here. This one's short. It is super short. There was not much exciting information about our boy Haula. I got all the usual stuff, but then we get to fun facts. I just get sad. There was like nothing. I couldn't find anything. So sad.
He's boring.
I guess.
Spice it up, Erik.
All right. He's a left winger from Pori, Finland. Haula was selected 182nd overall in the 2009 NHL entry draft by the Minnesota Wild. Haula has played in 655 regular season NHL games over a current 11-season NHL career. Haula played his first seasons with the Minnesota Wild. First 4 seasons with the Minnesota Wild. Felt like longer. I seems like he played longer here than 4 years, but 4 seasons with the Wild. Then went on to have stints with the Vegas Golden Knights, Carolina Hurricanes, Florida Panthers, Nashville Predators, Boston Bruins, and the team he currently plays for, the New Jersey Devils. For his awards and accomplishments, Josh, we have nothing. Zero. Nothing.
You've accomplished nothing.
Nothing. You just played in the league. That's good enough accomplishment.
Well, 11 years in the NHL. Yeah. I'm sure that's a pension. So that's
a pension for sure. For his NHL career regular season stats, he has 136 goals, 168 assists for 304 points. Haula has made the playoffs in 9 of his 11 NHL seasons, compiling 16 goals, 20 assists for 36 points in 73 NHL playoff games played. Best season of his NHL career from a point standpoint was his 2017-18 season. Haula had 29 goals, 26 assists for 55 points in 76 games played with the Vegas Golden Knights. Josh, now remember that was the Golden Knights' inaugural season when they almost did the impossible and win the Stanley Cup in their first year.
So I'm going to assume that we left him unprotected.
He was unprotected in the expansion draft. And the Knights got him. He had a great season. Everyone on the Knights had a great season. They almost won the Cup. Yeah. First season, Minnesota can't even get to the Cup. So there's my complaint about them. All right, Josh. So Josh, Haula, he's from Finland, but guess what? You mentioned the Gophers, but he's also a product of Shattuck St. Mary's right here, about 30 minutes down the road in Faribault, Minnesota. He would then go on to play for the Gophers after that. Then he gets drafted by the Wild. So he is kind of an adopted Minnesotan. Even though he's from Finland, he kind of grew up here with with his hockey career.
I kind of assumed he was Minnesotan, like born and raised.
I knew he was from Finland because I remember seeing that a while ago. But yeah, he seems like he would be a good minute. Well, we're a bunch of Scandinavian people running around usually, so fits right in.
When there was the whole thing too, and I think we mentioned this before with our Gophers, that until fairly recently,
Yes,
they never ever had any players that were not from Minnesota. Like that was a Gophers
yes.
thing, and Thomas Vanek, I believe, was the first player, right? Not
Vanek was the first European from the new. Because
okay.
look in the past, like Lou Nanny was from Canada. They used to have like
Yeah,
back in the 60s, but then when Doug Woog took over, it was all Minnesotans. And then I think Lucia took over and kind of changed that. And
got
I
rid of that.
know I can't remember if Lucia had Grant Patolny was like the first out of state guy in a while, and then Vanek obviously I think was the first European, and Haula was second, I think.
All right, well, that's this week's
Gopher
edition of
hockey
Gophers
history.
Insider.
Gophers Insider, which I'm not an insider, and I'm probably hopefully
No.
I didn't misstate anything. But so Josh, we're looking at Haula's game. He's a smart, skilled forward who possesses a great work ethic, skilled playmaker, and has spent time on the PK due to his fantastic speed and tenacity on the puck. Also known for good hands. Not much in the way of an elite point producer, but he is a good player that adds depth to the lineup as a bottom six forward, which is where he is at currently in his NHL career. So that's our little overview on our boy, Erik Haula. Now, fun, interesting facts. It's so bad. I apologize to everyone. I didn't find anything better. But here we go. Nicknames, Haula back, kind of like that one.
Yeah.
And Hallelujah. I'm convinced people just go into Hockey Reference and add these willy-nilly, and they just say they're the nicknames. All right. Final fun fact. His dad was an American football coach in Finland.
Well, I'm all sorts of intrigued by that. Do you think his dad has an American football podcast in Finland?
I don't know. It's there wasn't even that much info on it. Like it's just his dad coached American football in Finland. Okay.
I have no idea. Somebody from Europe or other places in the globe chime in. Is American football becoming like a thing as far as like youth sports? And do kids actually play it? Do they have teams? Is there leagues?
I gotta believe it's maybe growing, but it's gotta be so dwarfed by soccer or
Yeah.
I guess European
Real
football.
football.
Real football. Sorry, I'm gonna go off of a tangent. There's an SNL skit that was, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago, where it's George Washington explaining the formation of the US and he talks about football and it's just hilarious. So go check it out if you
That one's awesome.
Yeah. All right. His rookie cards, Josh. I'm gonna go cards because man, it's all over the place. Again, won't be very exciting. Sorry, I already put the picture up of one of them, but Haula has only 4 graded cards ever at PSA. Ever. And none of them are the same card. Almost the same story as Beckett. He's only got 5 graded cards ever at Beckett. All of them the different ones. And for his rookie cards, if you look at the RC designation and trading card database, we have 3 options. On the screen now is the 2013-14 Fleer Showcase with Nate Schmidt, serial numbered out of 299. And then we get into our favorites. These 2013-14 Panini rookie anthologies. This one's out of the Panini Prism update. So that one's on the screen. And then the last one was the 2013-14 Panini rookie anthology, but this one is out of Select instead of Prism. So that's our options. We got 3 of them. I just went with number 2, the Panini Prism update. It sells anywhere from $3 to $5. I think it gets a bump into the 3 to 5 because it's Prism. Like usually these cards are like $1, but these hockey Prism cards are pretty rare, right? I mean, was it 1 year or 2 years? I can't remember exactly how many years they made Prism hockey. There's also a lot of parallels out there, silvers, etc., that you can find if you want to go that route, which might command a little bit more money, but not that much more. So there's our rundown of Erik Haula. Not too exciting. Hopefully 57 will bring us a little more information and fun.
I just had $1 million idea, Troy.
All right.
You ready for it?
Yep.
Copyright Josh and Troy for all you business Steelers out there. We need to find Jason Sudeikis' phone number. We got a pitch for him. Erik Haula's dad comes to America and coaches the New York Giants.
There you go. It's the reverse, like Ted Lasso.
Yeah, it's like the spinoff of Ted Lasso.
I would say it was Led Tasso, but they already used Led Tasso in the show. That was his alter ego.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, let's move on.
All right.
Who's hot? The Struggle Bus. We just completed week 16 of the 2023-24 NHL season. It's time for us to check in on what players are dominating on the ice and the ones who probably prefer that we forgot were even out there. It's who's hot in the Struggle Bus, and as we do each week, we're going to start with our picks for who's hot. So my first pick, we just talked about Erik Haula and the Golden Knights.
No.
Another original Golden Knight, Jonathan Marchessault. Over the past 2 weeks, Troy, the 33-year-old Vegas forward has 8 goals, 3 assists for 11 points in 7 games played. On the 2023-24 season, he has 25 goals, 15 assists for 40 points in 50 games played, putting his 82-game pace at 40 goals and 66 points. Puck hog. This is basically his 9th season. He's never had a 40-goal campaign. So that'd be kind of cool, I guess, if he hit that mark. He is the reigning Conn Smythe Trophy winner from his 13-goal, 25-point performance in the 2022-23 playoffs. Like Erik Haula, Jonathan Marchessault was selected by the Golden Knights in the 2017 NHL expansion draft as he was left unprotected by the Florida Panthers. Now, his 75 points in 2017-18 led the Golden Knights in scoring for their inaugural season. If you go back and you look at like his year-by-year performance, I don't think Troy will ever have what we'll consider hobby elite numbers. I'm not sure if there's a 100-point season in him or if he'll ever get 50 goals or anything like that. But I would think that he will go down as one of the first, if not the first star of the Vegas Golden Knights, where he might have some sort of a like long-term hobby impact just because of that with Golden Knights fans. Kind of think of like Marian Gaborik. I'm not saying they're the same player, but just sort of that, not that Marian Gaborik is a huge hobby chase, but he's kind of the first wild star player.
Yeah. He's still got a market too. There's when Gaborik stuff goes up, I remember seeing a couple things go up and they go for a decent amount. Probably Wild fans that remember him. He was like our first star, not superstar, but star.
So looking at Marchessault's hobby market, he does not have a Young Guns.
Okay.
It's like our greatest player segment, it feels like here. None of those guys seem to have one. Probably the most commonly sold rookie card I found is a 2013-14 SP Authentic Future Watch. It's a non-auto out of $12.99. PSA 10 last sold for $211 last June, which was right after the Stanley Cup. So maybe that kind of makes sense. Only a pop 14.
Okay.
It kind of got me thinking, Troy, if you have some old like SP Authentic value bins, $211 for a out of 1,299 card. This one might be worth grading if you would want to maybe flip it, because I'm not saying it's going to go for $200, but if it's in a value box right now and you can get $100 for it or something like that, it'd be definitely worth the grading cost. So Jonathan Marchessault.
Thanks.
All right, you're up.
All right. Josh, I'm going the homer route with this one. Jules. There was such a controversy when Eriksson Ek first started playing for the Wild. You know, people would call him Joel Eriksson Ek, and then it was Jule Eriksson Ek, then Yule Eriksson Ek. And I don't even know what they landed on. I know it's not Joel. So we're going to go Yule Eriksson Ek, I think is how he's supposed to say it. But I'll just say Eriksson Ek. That's a lot easier. Ek.
Oh, we'll hear about it. Don't worry.
All right, Josh. Ek. He is the guy that is going to lead the Wild out of the doldrums and make a playoff push. Just kidding.
Have you been drinking all morning, Troy, or what?
Yeah, no, I was writing that hoping that I could make it happen, but it won't.
Speak it into existence.
Yeah, but Ek is actually playing really, really well. And looking back at the past 2 weeks, I'm going to go a little even further, say he's on absolute fire, especially for a Wild player, and especially for a player like him. And
I would say he's not a great player, but what I would say about him in a very positive light is that I think over the past 2-3 years, he's probably been our most consistent player.
Yeah.
For a team that lacks players that are consistent.
Yeah. Yeah, he's always one of those guys. He's like one of those role guys that does his role very well. And we'll get into that. I was thinking about too, like what makes, Eriksson Ek previously before I considered him who's hot and his 2 week stretch. from December 30th of 2023 through January 13th, he was one of those guys. 0 goals, 3 assists, 3 points in 9 games. And you're like, oh, okay. It's not struggle bus because it's Eriksson Ek. He's not supposed to put up all these numbers. But now he's kind of changed that. And that all started on January 15th, Josh, of this year. Eriksson Ek has put together a little hot streak where he has 6 goals, 5 assists for 11 points in 6 games played. So almost 2 points a game. 27-year-old Swedish forward on the season has 21 goals, 18 assists for 39 points. This puts him on pace for 36 goals, 30 assists, and 66 points, which would obviously be a career high in goals and assists. And I think points also. It'd be everything. He'd be career numbers for Eriksson Ek. His previous career high in goals was 26 in the 21-22 season, and his career high in points was 61 in the 22-23 season. So it looks
seems like he's older than 27, doesn't it?
It does. He's one like Haula being here for 4 years. I thought he's been here for 10. Eriksson Ek's the same way. I feel like he's been here 15 years. Just he's been around for a long time, it seems. But yeah, 27-year-old Swedish forward. So all of this has been a really significant bonus to the Wild, who, remember, there was a little issue. Eriksson Ek blocked a shot by Gino Malkin with 5 games to go in the regular season last year. And guess what happened, Josh? Broken leg.
Yeah.
And his setback or his recovery didn't go very well. There was a couple setbacks I was reading about. And it got to the point where he was pretty nervous, like if he could continue his career. And yeah, it was pretty interesting. And obviously he kept working through it. And then once he got back into it and he could skate, like the first time he skated, he lasted 3 minutes, I think it said, or 5 minutes on the ice. And that was like, oh my, what's happening? And then it was like, well, if I come back, what am I going to be like? Am I going to be any good? But kind of worked itself out, kept training, kept rehabbing. And now he's at this point where he's been a fantastic player for the Wild. This is his 3rd straight season of 20 goals or more. I didn't realize that. I knew he hits the score sheet every once in a while, but I didn't realize he's had 3 straight seasons of 20 or more goals.
He's like a great number 2 center.
Yeah.
He's just not a number 1 center.
Yep. And he's eating up tons of minutes. He averages around 20 minutes per game. I'm surprised we haven't used the Ryan Suter analogies yet in Minnesota, because that's all they talked to. That's all they could say about Suter. Oh, he's out there 26 minutes a game.
Eats minutes. Throws marshmallows.
Yeah. Eriksson Ek's also an agitator, which he does an awesome job at. And he can score every once in a while. Pretty good combo to have. My favorite thing about Eriksson Ek, he is an agitator. He'll stand in front of the net. He's a big dude. And he'll just like kind of stare at people and they'll push him. And he'll kind of fall back and keep staring at him. And he just looks confused half the time. But he's got a unique skill set that really gets under the skin of the opponents if you watch Wild games. So it's kind of fun to watch.
So if I said who's the greatest agitator in Wild history, would you know who I'm thinking of?
Oh, the greatest agitator?
Yeah.
Clutterbuck?
He was the second guy I was thinking of. Remember when Nino Niederreiter played for us?
Oh yeah, Niederreiter was pretty good too.
And he would talk at him every game.
Yeah, he would talk smack as he's skating like to the bench, and like, he would never like confront anyone. He would just skate around. All right, I got a Haula. Eriksson Ek fun fact I threw in here. The Wild have a fitness championship competition every training camp. Eriksson Ek has won it the past 8 seasons. So
wow,
he wins the award for the most fit Wild player, at least the most fit Wild player coming into training camp.
I mean, is he like a CrossFit bro or something like that?
He might be. Maybe there's not a lot to do in where he's at. Where he's at in Sweden. I actually I didn't look at his hometown or anything, but yeah, he's a pretty fit guy. So here we go. I was looking up. Yeah, or I was thinking about like the Wild. This is like a guy that we would totally trade, because now we're going to figure out we need pieces for next year. And I was just writing a note to myself, like, I hope we don't. He's got a role. It's a really unique role, and it's hard to find guys like this. And I'm hoping they keep him. But
we don't have a plethora of centers, so I would advise not getting rid of him either.
No. So Eriksson Ek, he's a 2016 young gun. PSA 10 pop is 82 with a gem rate of 73%. Last sale was around $55 on January 19th of this year via eBay, verified in Terapeak. In November, this had a few sales, but amounts were kind of all over the place. I put kind of wild as a
Sure.
bond, but that's dumb. $35 to $90. So again, it's like day of the week. If it's in a new holder, an old hole, it's just random stuff, and this card just bounces kind of all over between that range.
All right, Jonathan Marchessault, Jewel Eriksson Ek. For our final Who's Hot candidate this week. I must have been hungry. I'm going to David Pastrnak.
Or no, not Breadman. Pasta's
Yeah,
not
not
the
Breadman.
Breadman. That's
So
Panarin.
if Pastrnak is pasta, and
You
Panarin
even
is
go into it.
Breadman,
Oh, I feel bad.
all we need, Troy, is a sauce guy, and we'd have a nice Italian dinner.
We were close with the Wild. We had Carson Soucy on the Wild.
Oh, Carson Saucy. He's not good enough, though. You have to be like a better
No,
player,
he was not
I
good
think.
enough. Not good enough.
Okay, we'll have to work on that. New initiative here at the Gongshow. So dinner analogies aside, pasta continues to cruise through the NHL schedule, Troy. In the last 7 games, he only has 8 goals and 5 assists for 13 points, putting his 2023-24 season totals at 33 goals, 39 assists for 72 points in 49 games played. So that gives him an 82 game pace of 55 goals and 66 assists for 121 points. Now, if he got to 55 goals, it'd actually be 6 goals less than he scored last year, because remember, he had 61 last season, but it would be an improvement in his points total by 8. He's been basically playing at a superstar level since the beginning of last season. Just kind of crazy what he's been producing. And frankly, he's been an elite goal scorer since he got into the league. So looking at his career, Troy, over 641 games, he's scored 334 goals, totaled 689 points. It's got the magical combo of more than a half a goal per game and also greater than 1 point per game. And then if you think, too, at 27 years old, he should have probably 5-6 years left at a very high production level. So looking at his 334 current goals, he could be a guy before it's all said and done that gets to 600 goals or more. Or to sort of emphasize his goal scoring prowess, in the last 5 seasons, only AM34 and Leon Draisaitl have scored more goals than Pastrnak. He also has the 5th most points in the past 5 years as well. But when you start to look at like individual accomplishments, he won the Rocket Richard in 2022, played in a couple four All-Star games, made the first team All-Star twice, but really not a lot else from an individual award perspective. No Stanley Cups either. So my question for you on Pasta is, do you consider him a superstar? Or is he just like a really, really good scorer star player?
I think I don't know. I go back and forth with him because the hobby, I think I'll say I think he's a superstar. Hobby doesn't think so, but I think he is. And so has he won the Richard twice? I'm looking at his stat line. I'm so confused because he had 61 last year. Was that the Richard?
I believe so, yeah.
And then Hockey Cards says he won it in 2019 for 48 goals. That was
oh, maybe he did win it twice, and maybe Wikipedia was wrong. I was foiled by the internet, Troy.
I don't know. Let me look. I'm gonna look it up because these things always bug me.
Also, well, I'm kind of excited to talk about his Young Guns too, though. So his Young Guns is 2014. PSA 10 pop only 201, 41% gem rate. That last sold for $927, Troy, on January 23rd. So it's down 16% in the past month. I think, though, that that's a lot of money for Young Guns. It would kind of make you think, boy, hobby superstar. And then you look at that pop of 201, you're like, oh, well, that's why, right?
Yep.
But before I drop $900 or $1,000 on this card, I would encourage anyone to go look at the population growth charts. Because I was curious about that. I'm like, because 201 seemed like a lot. And I remember this card having a smaller population. So a year ago, it was 157. And even at the start of the season, it was 184. So it's gone up, even in the past couple months, like the total pop of PSA 10s has gone up about 10%, which I just think is relevant given you're talking $900 or $1,000. And again, I presume that the reason why that value is so high is he's a good player, great player, but also really low pop. And I'm not saying it's going to be like 4,000 anytime soon, but I don't know. That would make me wary about spending that kind of money if maybe the pop gets another 50 or 100 more over the next year.
Hmm.
Would you have that concern, or is that just
Yeah, I always have concerns with these guys, and if it just kind of spikes, what will happen? It doesn't. I mean, it wouldn't take that many to spike it and watch it drop a little bit. So I agree, 1,000 would be a lot. Update on our statistics. So Pasta did win the Richard in 2019, 2020. Last year, or was it 22, 23, was Connor McDavid. So McDavid had
so I had
64.
the wrong year, but he did win once.
Don't
Okay.
worry, we found mistakes in the NHL.com bios. It's you just never know with this stuff.
All right. Well, that's Pasta. So who's hot this week? We had Jonathan Marchessault, Joel Eriksson Ek, and David Pasternak. Here it is, Troy. Right on time. The struggle bus is pulled up. We'll let you start and let everyone know who's on it this week.
All right, Josh. I'm going to go with an LA King for this episode, Struggle Bus. I did last time, too. I think I had Cam Talbot, who, guess what? He's still on. He's made his stuff nice and comfy, but I'm not going with Cam Talbot, but he's still on there. But now he's got a friend. And to be honest, you could probably choose any LA King, throw a dart at a dartboard of a roster, and you're probably going to have him on the Struggle Bus.
It's pretty rough right now.
Yep, and I'm going to quote good friend of the show, California Dave, and I'm paraphrasing this in our Discord, wrote, the entire LA Kings team is complete garbage right now. Agree. It does seem like they are pretty garbage. And the Kings have lost 13 of their previous 15 games. So that is pretty bad. So this guy, one of the top dogs on their team, Anze Kopitar, definitely struggling right now. He's going on the struggle bus. But to be fair, could have picked 5 other guys. But I'm going with Kopitar just because he is struggling, but we don't talk about him that often. Probably sporadically at best is what I'll say if we bring him up.
Neither him or Adrian Kempe. They're both really good players.
Agree. So over the past 7 games, Kopitar has 1 goal, 0 assists for 1 point. And up until this recent cold streak, Kopitar had been playing very well with 14 goals, 25 assists for 39 points in 39 games played. And then this 7-game streak happened, and the wheels fell off, and Struggle Bus did a hard U-turn, made its way to LA to pick him up. And
Wait a minute, I forget.
Yeah.
My own bit. Is the goal and 0, is that a Halfkovsky or is it a 0 goals and 1 assist?
What was 1 goal, 1 assist? That must be a Slavkovsky. Is 1 goal, 1 assist? So a Halfkovsky?
Yeah, it's a Halfkovsky. Yeah, you got a Halfkovsky. Okay, there you go.
Someone will correct us if we have it wrong. But, okay, Kopitar. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's got a couple cups, over 1,100 career points. But the struggle bus does not discriminate. When you have 1 point in 7 games, it's coming for you. And things are just not going well. We even had Kopitar, along with Drew Doughty, calling out the team for selfish play. And while not naming names in their quotes, people are inferring that they are talking about PLD and maybe Kevin Fiala.
Really?
Both of them are kind of what people are saying, because Fiala had this like big turnover, trying to be selfish on a power play instead of moving it. And that's when all these comments came out. And then PLD is just a disaster. I don't know how anyone would want that guy after all what he's done in the Kings. He just seems indifferent. Got his big contract. Now he's coasting through life, I guess. But
I was just going to say that not only did they give assets away for him, but then they signed him to a big contract.
Yep. And Doughty and Kopitar are not happy, it seems. And they made it known, which is what leaders do. But it had to be pretty bad if you're going to the media, because usually you guys try to keep it in the locker room. But so again, dumpster fire in LA. Will Todd McClellan be the head coach this week? I don't know. There's a lot of rumblings that he's going to be let go, because something's got to change, and it's usually the head coach, because it's easier to fire one guy than get rid of the team. But we'll see. Okay. Josh Kopitar. He's a 2006, man. I didn't realize how old this guy was, like 36, 37. 2006 Young Gun. PSA 10 pop is 132. Oh, but the saving grace, gem rate of 39%. Last sale was $322 US on December 28th of 2023 via eBay and verified in Terapeak. Not a whole bunch of sales of this card, and the price can bounce around. Since October, the card has sold from anywhere from $280 US to $390 US range. And Josh, I just noticed, did I not have my picture of Kopitar up when I was talking about him for YouTube?
I don't think so, no.
Well, there he is. So sorry about that, people on YouTube.
Hello.
There he is. There's his card. Great card. Great face. It's one of my favorite things.
I always love when they play for the same team their whole career, which means they'll probably get traded now.
Yeah.
I just think that's cool. All right. Time to find out who is joining Anze Kopitar on the struggle bus this week. Another big star, Troy, who is struggling mightily. Tage Thompson. So in the past 2 weeks, the 26-year-old Buffalo Sabres forward has 1 assist in 6 games played. So that is a Hafkovsky for sure. We've got the dual Hafkovsky. Bringing his 2023-24 season total to just 14 goals, 14 assists for 28 points in 39 games played.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was thinking about the Hafkovsky. The button bar would be perfect for this. It is going to be ordered tonight. I know which one I want. We're going to have it.
You promised by this episode is going to be.
I know.
So we're going to let's put a pin in that, and we're going to admonish you later and have a serious heart-to-heart on this show about our button bar.
So actually, I can do it right now. I'm going to do it while you talk. I'm going to do it on Amazon.
All right. And if you don't, I'm going to go buy one, and I'll buy the wrong one and make you mad. So you just have to sit and think what you want more. So like I say, Tage Thompson, 28 points, 39 games played this year. Now last year he was a revelation, Troy. He had 47 goals, 47 assists for 94 points. How come is he like OCD or something like that, where he has to balance goals and assists?
He has to make them just even. Yeah.
He's like, oh, I've got 48 assists, so I better score another goal. I'm not going to pass the puck to score another goal. Anyways, this year, not so bueno for Tage Thompson. Been kind of a dumpster fire of the year for both him and his team. Seems like he's been battling some injuries this year too, so that, get nicked up and happens at some point in the career to a lot of these guys. And if you look at articles about him, it's kind of funny because I was looking through last night trying to get insight as to what's going on with him. And all I'm seeing, looking over like the past couple months, is alternating headlines basically, where one article will say, Tage Thompson's starting to look like his old self. And then it's Thompson to miss 2 games, or Thompson to get medical imaging will be out a few weeks. So it seems like he's kind of been battling that. For the hobby, it's kind of a bummer. He was so awesome last year. I haven't seen him really play this year much, but when he's cooking, he's huge and flies and fast and can kind of dominate games. So I'd prefer. I don't have a big PC or anything like that of Tage Thompson, but I just think it's a better league with him playing well. I wonder too if he could be, if he could just be consistently good, if he could really kind of make that next leap into hobby star. But it just seems like that's the problem with him, the whole consistency piece.
Yeah.
Where going back even the last few years. And basically this year, his hobby market, it seems like it's pretty much evaporated.
Yep.
So Troy, his 2017-18 Young Gun PSA 10 pop 493 has a 28% gem rate. That's a really low gem rate. Wow. That sold for $114 US in January 25th. So it's down about 24% since the start of January. Would be with that 28% gem rate. Now, this would be a great Young Guns to invest in if you believed in Thompson over the long haul. All right, Troy, are you ready to bury your face in the cringe pillow?
Am I going to have a buddy? Is this going to be my buddy? Well, I'll talk about my Kaprizov, and he can talk about his Tage Thompson.
I'm so sorry if this is you out there, somebody. So someone, just about a year ago today, paid $760 US for one of his base Young Guns, PSA 10. Now, us in Minnesota with Norwegian heritage say oofta to that. Then as I was kind of making my notes, I'm like, do real Norwegians actually say oofta?
I highly doubt it. I bet it's Americanized oofta.
So, like a real Norwegian from Norway, please chime in and let us know if anyone says oofta or if it's just my grandma. But you and this guy, Troy, or gal, I guess, you should maybe start a support group for
We
people that
should.
dramatically overpay.
It's
for
literally, I mean, we're within $40 on the paid, or no, what was mine? I think I paid 700,
like
something like that.
725, something like that.
725, and then I just looked up the Kaprizov's worth like 134, 135. So
I think Kaprizov's a better player, but the pop 3 on the Tage Thompson's 493, where the giant problem with Kaprizov is the pop is like 49 million at this point.
here, we need to have the update. Okay, Josh, PSA 10 update on the Kaprizov Young Guns. 4,866 is the PSA 10 pop.
God, it's gonna hit 5,000 pretty
It
soon.
is.
Do we need to dedicate a whole episode to that and just make fun of you, or what?
maybe our 5,000th episode. We'll just do that.
So a couple of big stars in the struggle bus.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's younger guys that are kind of
Yep.
going through the up and down of their career progression. Anze Kopitar and Tage Thompson this week on the struggle bus. All right, we need to make a quick mention for Gongshow partner and sponsor Slab Sharks. We are super grateful, of course, to them for their support of our show. The current Slab Sharks weekly eBay auction is live. All you have to do is go to slabsharks.com for a link to the auction, browse some of the amazing hockey cards available, and place your bids. Now, last week's auction was nuts. They had like 40 plus Gretzky autos.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe it. And I guess on one hand, you might think, well, how did they top that? I don't know if they topped it this week, but the auction is just as good.
Yeah.
They are getting just like ridiculous cards every single week. So I spent some time yesterday morning, like it's like my new like Saturday morning tradition. I found 5 cards that I think are worth mentioning from this week's auction, although there's many more as well. So the first one, Troy, this is a big one that sells for a lot of money. It's a 2020-21 exquisite collection, Wayne Gretzky. It's the 2003 tribute patch auto. But this is the one that out of 10 that has the practice worn jersey, which I think makes the card like really unique. You don't see many practice worn jerseys. I'm not sure how big of a deal that would be if it wasn't for any other player than a Wayne Gretzky and an Oilers practice jersey. But pretty cool card and very unique, I think, from that perspective. Does that do anything for you? Do you like the I'm sure you prefer game worn, all things being equal. But
I think I probably would like a game worn jersey over a practice jersey. But it is pretty unique. Like if you yeah, I'd rather have the game worn.
I like this card, but I get what you're saying. The next one, we talked about him last week on a show quite a bit. 2013-14 SP Authentic Nathan McKinnon Future Watch Auto out of $9.99 PSA 10. He's one of those guys when we do Who's Hot and Struggle Bus. He could be Who's Hot almost every week. So
yeah, every week.
I'm really kind of, if he continues to just dominate, I'm having a lot of fun trying to follow his market to see at some point if it catches on. So,
like him, and also Kucherov too, for Who's Hot. He could be on there every week. McKinnon and Kucherov. We could just do those 2 guys and be fine.
Costa's another guy. We did him today, but could have done him plenty before. Next card that stood out to me is a 2019-20 Upper Deck Jack Hughes Young Guns exclusives out of 100. BGS 9.5. Big card there if you're a Jack Hughes fan. Much better than his Young Guns that is like 70% gem rate. So I'd much rather have this card. Then I had to go back to McKinnon. We talked a lot about like parallels on last show. Well, here's like the big ice card. It's the Ice Premieres on a 99 from 2013. PSA 10. I really like this card.
Yeah.
I like the design. It's clean. I like acetate cards. So, and obviously it's a Nathan McKinnon rookie Ice Premieres on a 99. Can't beat that. And then the last one that stood out to me is 2018-19 Upper Deck Elias Pettersson Young Guns Acetate BGS 9.5. So uh, this one should go for a lot of money, I would guess, too. Those young gun estates are typically very well sought after.
Yes.
Now, if you're a Canadian hockey card collector, Troy and I would strongly recommend checking out Slabshark's eBay consignment services as a way to quickly and easily move your cards for cash. They make it super easy on you because, well, they do all the work. You just send them your cards, they do the rest. They'll take high quality photos, they'll list your cards, answer any buyer questions, hunt down payment from winners, ship the cards to both Canada or the US, and handle any post sale issues. Plus, your cards get listed in their very popular and growing weekly auctions. Remember, too, through June 1st, Slab Sharks is paying out 98% payout rates on Connor Bedard cards. So, again, head to slabsharks.com for complete consignment information and to start consigning your cards with them today. All right. Happy news.
Let's do it.
Fanatics Live.
Yep.
Promo. Getting some steam, some buzz out there in the hobbyverse. Oh, the hobbyverse.
There you go.
Did I just quote that? Is copyright?
I think I've heard that before, but let's say we haven't heard it.
Try to take credit for it. So you got to give Fanatics credit. They're really trying to keep pushing the envelope with sort of interesting marketing ideas. Some may say gimmicks, but I like the fact that they're trying stuff, find new ways to promote the hobby and get people interested. So, Troy, this week they launched a new campaign called The 10, where they've identified what they consider to be the 10 hottest cards in the hobby and are offering a $10,000 Fanatics Live credit reward. Sounds weird to say those two words together. If any of these identified cards are hit and breaks on the Fanatics Live platform. So it's a little one of those things where it's kind of like if you ever been to like a golf tournament where you can win a Mercedes if you get a hole in one, where the odds are so small that ever happens. So again, you have to hit one of these cards on Fanatics Live.
Yeah, and if you hit it, you just get the money, the credit, right? You get a credit. It's not like you have to give them the card. It's not a bounty or anything. It's just great job. You hit the card. Here's $10,000 in Fanatics funny money.
So they identify the 10 biggest cards or hottest cards, however you want to put it. There's 4 basketball cards, 3 baseball cards, 2 football cards, a soccer card, and Troy, a hockey card.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a hockey
Fanatics put in a hockey card. But according to them, the hottest yet to be pulled hockey card is, so I had drum roll for our button bar that you promised that we're going to have. So there you go. 2021-22 The Cup, Trevor Zegras, NHL Shield 101.
Okay.
All right, we got to break that down.
Okay, that's.
So are we sure Fanatics? I love Fanatics. Hi, my name's Josh. This is Troy. Well, PWCC is our sponsor.
They technically sponsor us, I think, at the end of the day.
Oh, we better mind our P's and Q's.
They should have reached out to us to ask which card they should.
Yeah. We're not anti-Zegras. Like, we got accused at one point of being anti-Laffy, anti-Cider because of our jokes. And I actually would prefer, I like all players to do well, but I prefer Zegras because he's so marketable to do well. I'm just not sure that this is like the hottest yet to be pulled card in the hobby. So that's like point 1. Would you agree with that? I mean, can you think of maybe other, like the
sure.
Caulfield Shield?
You give me a list, I'll find you a different one that's probably hotter.
Then the other thing that I thought, okay, sorry, I'm skipping ahead. Zegras also has a broken ankle in his life for the foreseeable future too, so it's a little interesting in that regard. But the other thing that stood out to me is that it's, when you look at, and we're showing it on YouTube here, it says Trevor Zegras Shield out of 1, and then I think in their terms and conditions it says 2021-22 The Cup. Are they aware that there's multiple Shield 101s in the Cup? So I guess I'm kind of assuming that they are.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
there's the Exquisite Shield, there's the Cup RPA Shield, and then there's just the non-auto Shield as well. They'd have to honor any of those, I would assume.
That's a great question. Actually, do they have on the site? Hold on, they have a picture. Oh no, it's probably
no. They don't.
Picture.
They have like a
it's only if they know what the picture looks like, they put it on there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And again, if you hit one, it's Fanatics Live credit, so to get you to break more on their platform. But again, still cool. I'm I love that they are pushing the envelope. And for everyone that says Fanatics doesn't care at all about hockey, I haven't heard from Michael Rubin in person on that about this yet. But it is interesting that they did include a hockey card in there, even though probably not the biggest one, but it makes sense, right? Because if you knew
Yeah.
nothing about or very little, if you had a surplus, if a tertiary understanding of uh do we need to go back to the struggle bus and put
Yeah,
my
just pick you up
English
while we're at
on
it.
it? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so Fanatics Live. Okay, one more story in hobby news. Steven Stamkos story.
Yes.
1100th career point the other day on Thursday, exactly. He looks pretty cool there. He's got the hair. He's if you're watching on YouTube. So he scored his 111th and 1,101st career points. Took him 1,049 career games. He's a 33-year-old Lightning captain. So over his career, he has 535 goals, 566 assists. So very balanced scoring. Again, for the aforementioned 1,101 points. It's a career average of 0.51 goals per game and 1.05 points per game. Basically played 15 and a half years now. So, Troy, Stamkos is one of 6 active players with 1,100 or more points. Can you name 3 of the other 5?
Kopitar, right?
I saw that too in the notes. Dang it, he's going to get one.
Kopitar, Ovechkin, Crosby?
Yeah. So the other 5 are, and of course I wrote 4.
Well, Stamkos is the 5th? Or is there 6? Oh, there's 6. Okay.
There's 6. Why did I only write 4?
I don't know.
Crosby, Ovechkin, Malkin, Kopitar, Stamkos, and somebody else that I'll have to look up when you start talking again. Steven Stamkos was the first overall pick in the 2008
Patrick
NHL.
Kane.
Patrick Kane, yes, it is. NHL entry draft. So the top 5 picks that year, that's my new thing. Anytime I talk about the draft, I want to know who's picked around them. So Stamkos went number 1. Then Drew Doughty of the Gulf Storm. Went to the LA Kings. Zach Bogosian, currently of the Minnesota Wild. Went to the Atlanta. He was the 3rd overall pick in the NHL draft.
Wow.
Then Alex Pietrangelo went to the Blues. That was a big mistake getting rid of him. And then Luke Shen went to your Toronto Maple Leafs with the 5th pick that year, Troy. Stamkos is a 2-time Rocket Richard Trophy winner, 2-time Stanley Cup champion, 535 goals, still 33. A couple more, he could hit 600 goals too. Only 20 NHL players have ever scored 600 more goals, so something for him to shoot for. Doesn't mean he has any hobby love? No. Stamkos is a 2008-2009 Young Guns, PSA 10, top 432, 40% gem rate. That's over 296 US on January 17th. Down about 5% in the past 3 months, down about 1% in the past 6 months. Kind of interesting to compare his Young Guns to like Pastas.
Right? Yeah. Interesting. Also, I apologize. I had a panic attack because I think we have a typo where we put 2018 NHL entry draft. I'm like, how has Stamkos been around for 6 years? I was so confused.
Yeah,
I think you might have said it. You said it right, probably.
I adjusted on the fly.
I was panicking.
My least favorite Young Guns design ever. It looks like
I don't like how the flowery
looks like an iron gate.
Yeah, I don't like how it takes
like some
away,
old rickety house.
Takes away from the subject. Yeah, agree.
Okay, Troy, we're going to move on to top 10 2023-24 point producers that are 21 and under. So I'm not sure if you're aware of this, Troy, but the hobby is particularly mesmerized by prospects. Is that breaking news?
Oh, yeah, breaking news.
It's the hope and anticipation of what a player could be that seems to always outweigh what players actually are, what they become. Case in point is every rookie versus your guy, Nikita Kucherov, or a guy like Mikko Rantanen. And when we pointed out, too, it's not like we're judging. We get swept up in the hoopla of like Connor Bedard and Anna Ventilli and everyone else as well. But as a hobby, we keep pumping money into these prospects where many of them don't pan out ever. And then we scratch our heads at rookie cards for 50 goal scorers that aren't worth anything too. It's kind of funny, like when you think about how this hobby works sometimes. I don't know if it's like a Mikko Rantanen, people think he's like ancient because he's 27 years old or something like that. But that whole dichotomous nature got me thinking, is there a way to maybe successfully like marry these two concepts, right? Like actually like young prospects that have potential, but then also layer in actual performance as well. And it got me thinking of maybe let's try to figure out who are the young guys, right? So I picked like 21 and younger, right? That's pretty young, very much still prospects that are actually producing the most points in the NHL right now. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to look at the top 10 point producers this season that are 21 and under. Now, I went by points. We could have done it by goals or some other way too. So it's just one measure. It's not, I don't want people to get like mad and think this is our list of the top best players 21 and under. Because again, the whole idea is let's try to find that median between that middle road between hype and promise and actual production as well. I use Quan Hockey for it was a little difficult to kind of isolate by age, but I found a way to do it. And one of the interesting things that I found is that by looking at Quan Hockey and their data, Troy, 70 players this season have logged ice time that are 21 and younger. Now, if you look at total players that have logged ice time, 931. So according to their data, the percentage of players right now that are 21 and younger in the NHL is about 7.5%. Is that in line with what you figured? I would have actually thought the percentage was a little bit higher. But.
Yeah, it seems right. I don't know.
It's pretty young.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. So let's just get into the list here. It'll take a little bit, but try to be very concise with everyone. The number 10 point producer, who's 21 and younger. We start out with our team here, Troy. Wild rookie defenseman Brock Faber. He's 21 years old. Talked about him somewhat recently, so we're going to try to highlight some different stuff. So through 48 games, he's got only 4 goals, but 25 assists for 29 points. Of any defenseman 21 and younger in the NHL, he has the most points this season.
Wow.
That's kind of crazy. He's the only defenseman on this list. He also leads all 21 and under players in the NHL in time on ice with an average of 24 minutes and 27 seconds per game. And he's tied for 7th in the group in plus minus at +4. Now, with Wild captain Jared Spurgeon out for the year, Faber has stepped in and kind of saved the day defensively for the Wild. We talked about this, I think, a show or two ago. Does he have a huge hobby upside? Probably not. He's not like a Cale Makar, likely Quinn Hughes. I don't know. Maybe he will, but I wouldn't count on it. He's never really scored goals ever in his career. He just seems to be really, really, really solid. Kind of plays like a 10-year vet. That was sort of from the minute he debuted last spring. The word out of the Wild was like, it's like he's been here 8 years already or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Brock Faber, only defenseman.
I'll tell you what, he does look the part. Like if you ever watch Wild games, he looks so good. And he's so young, and we should be very excited. Hopefully he pans out. Sorry, I went down a rabbit hole when you asked about the under 21. I found the NHL media relations publication on opening day, and they had 48 players out of 707 being 21 or under. And that came out to like 7%. So yeah, your number is probably dead on.
And there's more in Quan Hockey because guys have been called up.
Called up. Yep.
All that sort of stuff. So Brock Faber is a 2023-24 Young Guns. PSA 10 pop only 39. I'm sure that's going to go up a lot.
Yeah, that's going to skyrocket.
36% gem rate, less so for 180 US on January 27th.
Yep, stay away.
Up about 27% in the past 2 weeks. Yeah, this will be a lot cheaper a year from now, and has nothing to do with how good he is. It's that 180 is all populated, and people seeming to forget that population counts always go up.
Yep.
Okay, the number 9 player, under 21 under, who has the most points so far this year, the Anaheim Ducks second-year forward Mason McTavish, just 20, so still a young pup. Season to date, scored 13 goals, added 17 assists for 30 points in 41 games played. So much attention in Anaheim goes to Trevor Zegras and the whole like Jamie Drysdale thing, even Leo Carlson, who's been real good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if McTavish will end up being the hidden gem on that team. Just because his rookie season was a little disappointing coming out the World Championships
Yeah.
earlier that last summer and stuff like that. He was the 3rd overall pick in the 2021 NHL entry draft. Got good size. Like so many of these young goal scorers are tiny. 6 foot, 215 pounds. Big dude. Scored goals and produced points at every level he's ever played. And he's proven he can deliver big and big moments. So we talked about 2021-22 World Junior Championships under 20. Had 8 goals and 17 points in 7 games played. That same year in the Memorial Cup, he had 6 goals and 8 points in 5 games. So I think that speaks well for his potential. And I think you can make a case that a savvy move right now might, if you're the investor type guy, could be looking into maybe gobbling up some of his rookies. So I think they're still pretty cheap, actually.
Oh, yeah.
This doesn't get a lot of steam right now. McTavish of the 2021 Young Guns PSA 10 pop, 1,708, 58% gem rate, last sold for $65 on January 25th. Some reason down 20% in the past 2 weeks.
Just probably due to being on Anaheim.
Yeah. The number 8 point producer, 21 and under, Troy, is Winnipeg Jets forward Cole Perfetti. His name rhymes with spaghetti, so maybe we could throw him into the pasta.
the Motley group of the food players.
So far in 2023-24, he's got 14 goals, 16 assists for 30 points, and 46 games played. Oh, I use stats back to last Friday, too, just in case.
Okay.
Already tied his point production this year from last season. And last year took him 51 games, so he did in 46 games this year. Only had 8 goals last year, and increased that to 14 this season. Also on a current 6-game scoring drought, so maybe it'll be Anze Kopitar, Tage Thompson, my vocabulary, and Cole Perfetti on the struggle.
Yeah, the struggle bus radar went off. It's pinging him.
Going through a little bit of maybe of a sophomore slump. Now, Perfetti was the 10th overall pick in 2020. He had a couple of huge years in the OHL. Like if you go back and look at his pedigree, scored 37 goals back-to-back seasons. Finished the 2019-20 OHL season with 111 points in 61 games played. Now, the thing about like Perfetti and the hobby is Winnipeg, not a big hobby market, of course.
No.
So we'll just have to see if he can keep climbing the ladder and establish himself as a consistent goal scorer. But if I were a fan of the Jets, I think I'd be pretty excited about his potential at just 21 years old. Now, Perfetti's a 2021 Young Guns PSA 10 pop 1,003. That's pretty high. 59% gem rate, less over 43 US on January 26th.
Wow.
Down about 10% past couple weeks. The number 7 point producer, 21 and under, is Wyatt Johnston. Dallas Stars, still just 20 years old. Notably, Troy, he tied Matty Beniers last season with the most goals by a Calder eligible rookie, where he had 24 goals. Now, 49 games played this season, he has 14 goals, 18 assists for 32 points. His 82-game pace is 1 less goal than last year, so 23. But his pace for 54 points would be a 13-point increase over 2022-23. He had a huge 2021-22 OHL season with the Windsor Spitfires. Scored 46 goals, added 78 assists for 124 points in 68 games played. So he was he won the CHL Top Scorer Award in 2022. Now that led him to be selected 23rd overall by the Dallas Stars in the 2021 NHL entry draft. And they've actually bumped him up lately too to the Stars top line. So he's been playing with Jason Robertson and Rope Hintz. Man, that's a good line, huh?
Very good line.
And I always think for a guy like Johnston that should increase his points opportunities at the very least. Right? Somebody's got to assist J. Rob and Hintz on their goals. And maybe they'll set him up as well. So Wyatt Johnston in 2022-23 Young Guns. PSA 10 pop 390, 36% gem rate. Also for 95 US on January 27th. It's up about 21% in the past couple weeks. $95 for his young gun PSA 10. Higher than I may have thought it would be. The number 6 point producer, 21 and under. You ever heard of this guy? Look at this smile on it. It looks like his jaw works great.
Is this the picture you wanted?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. Connor Bedard, 18 years old. Coming in at number 6 point producer. Now he's got 15 goals, 18 assists for 33 points and 39 games played. Pretty impressive, Troy, that he's still number 6 on the list since he's been hurt for a few weeks and hasn't played. And for any of the guys in the top 10 point producers, he's played the least amount of games this year. He's also, of course, the youngest player in the top 10 point producers, 21 and under. 11 of his 15 goals have been even strength. I think that's a pretty good sign as well. Although, Troy, if you want to point out a negative, of any of our top 10, 21 and under point producers, he does have the worst plus minus at negative 22, which probably has to do with maybe a little bit of his defense and the fact that his team is awful.
Yeah.
He has averaged the third most time on ice, 1904 per game. And of course, he's the hobby wonderkind. All of his cards sell for ridiculous money. There's no young guns out yet for Bedard, but it's already up 80 million %. Yeah. We know about his hobby market.
Yes.
So that gets us to the top. So any surprises so far in the...
Nope. No surprises. The one guy I don't know why I don't know that much about him is Perfetti. I don't know why I don't watch him more. He's the one guy that just always kind of sneaks up on me in these lists.
Well, he was like most noteworthy or most in the news about the wild count, like the Ryan Hartman thing, right?
Yeah. Yep.
It's like the only time I've ever really seen his name in the news. But
was that when Hartman basically told him he's going to injure him or he's going to go after him?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Like after the Kaprizov got his ribs broke.
Yeah, and he was mic'd up, and the rule, or there's an agreement that any mic'd up stuff is not supposed to get out if it, there's some rule that the NHL puts in place.
Okay, so now you'll have to chime in for any of these top 5 and let me know if any of these guys stand out to you or surprise you that they produced to the degree they have.
Oh, next one does. I'm glad the next one's on there because I wasn't a big fan of him coming out, but I'm glad he's looks like
number 5
turning around.
Number 5 player, none other than the LA Kings, Quentin Byfield. So there's some good news for Kings.
Yep.
21-year-old has 14 goals, 20 assists for 34 points in 45 games played. We've talked about him a little already this season. Things look like they're starting to click for the 2020 second overall pick. Up until this point, it's been a little rough for him and the Kings. In 2021-22, he had only 5 goals, 5 assists for 10 points in 40 games. Last season, went down to 3 goals, 22 points in 53 games. Current pace, Troy, should exceed 20 goals and 60 points. That would be a huge leap forward.
Yeah, that's a huge leap.
Basically. He's one guy where I think we're also starting to see the hobby start to show some interest again, too. And just like researching sales, I've noticed a couple like pretty big cup sales recently for him. So he's one to think about maybe going back and looking through those Young Guns boxes or some other rookies that maybe where the values were down in the past couple of years. Byfield is a 2021 Young Gun, PSA 10 pop 1,581, 67% gem rate, last sold for 69 US on January 25th. Down about 5% in the past couple of weeks, but still up about 10% since the start of the season. The number 4 guy is a guy I hardly ever think about, but of course we love. It's our guy, Troy. JJP.
JJP. That surprised me. This one surprises me.
Yeah, you just don't think of him often. John Jason Peterka. Maybe one of the few bright spots this season for the dumpster fire that has been the Buffalo Sabres. And whenever we say dumpster fire, remember we're Wild fans. And it's
we're a constant dumpster fire.
We're not calling you dumpster fire at you. We're calling it with you. If that makes sense. Through 49 games played, JJP has 18 goals, 16 assists for 34 points. already surpassed his season total from 77 games played last season, where he had 12 goals, 20 assists for 32 points. His 18 goals, Troy, are the most by any NHL player 21 and younger. Now, since goals are the most important stat for driving hobby value, it might be a good idea for us to start tracking this kid a little bit and paying maybe a little bit more attention. He's 21 years old, 5'11", 190 pounds, hails from Munich, Germany. Now, Troy, if Munich were a French city, I'm sure we'd pronounce it Munich.
Munich.
We can't pronounce anything French. On the cautionary side, he's one of these prospects that never had a monster CHL season or anything like that. So it's hard to point to any goal scoring pedigree. Very similar to like Slavkovsky, where you go back and you look at, he played like for like 6 years, like 10 game stints with every team.
Yeah, those weird.
It just makes European it really hard kind of a European thing. Now, JJP is a 2021 young gun, PSA 10 pop 302, 70% gem rate, last sold for $52 US on January 11th. Amazingly, somehow up 50% in the past 3. So it was like dirt cheap. Like $30 a couple weeks ago. We're up to number 3, Troy. Carolina Hurricanes 21-year-old forward Seth Jarvis. Another guy you don't think of real often. 48 games played, has 15 goals, 23 assists for 38 points. He played 82 games last year and finished with 14 goals and 39 points, which was a little bit of a sophomore slump for him. Mm-hmm. So it looks like he's kind of back on track. And in doing this too, it kind of hit me. And even looking at guys over the last couple of years, I think the sophomore slump thing is like a real deal. Like it happens to a lot of these guys. And the next guy was a huge sophomore slump too. Do you think that that's a real thing?
I'm sure it is, but I wonder if it's just we make it more of a real thing than it is because we focus on a couple players. But yeah, the more you see it, maybe. Yeah, it could be. I don't know. Hey, there's a project. Write it down. Sophomore slump analysis.
Well, we need more projects. Well, I was trying to think through it. Like, well, why psychologically would that be a thing? And maybe it's you come into the NHL so amped up that it's hard to kind of keep that level of energy or focus. Yeah. And then by the time your second year comes around, you're sort of like thinking, okay, how do I sustain this for the long haul? And you just let up a little bit.
Yes, and teams figure you out.
It's just
that's a big thing in football. That's why quarterbacks can be all world in like a season or early in a season, and those NHL or NFL coaches are not dumb, and they'll change their schemes, and all of a sudden the quarterback can't do anything because they figured them out. Same thing with hockey.
So Jarvis's 38 points is second most on the Hurricanes this year. Yeah, they should be a playoff team and might even contend for the cup. His pace right now is 26 goals, 65 points, which would be career highs. Been huge on the power play. 8 of his 15 goals have been scored there. He was the 13th overall pick in the 2020 NHL entry draft. That could be a pick that, of course, pays off big for the Canes. One thing I think of, though, with a lot of these, when they're talking about like Perfetti in Winnipeg, and you can even say it's about our team, too.
Yeah.
Is Carolina a market that is really going to support like a big-time hobby star? I don't know. You have thoughts on that?
I mean, it's Carolina reminds me of one of those. It's not a huge hockey market because it's very passionate. Every hockey fan you talk to in Carolina seems crazy for hockey, and where it's like LA, I think you have a huge market. Maybe not the most crazy fans, but there's definitely a pocket of them. But it seems like Carolina, they're all crazy.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't think you'll ever get. I don't think you'll ever get this market of like. What am I trying to say here?
Like,
I mean, they are like even Minnesota. Like we like to think we're the state of hockey and everything, but when it comes to the hobby market for hockey,
it's not great.
It's not great. It's not. It's just honest.
We haven't had really any stars yet, and maybe I think for like a star player, the market matters. But if you're a superstar, if you're scoring 72 goals, I don't think it matters where you play.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jarvis is a 2021-22 young gun. PSA 10 pop 321, 64% gem rate, last sold for $80 US on January 26, up about 60% in the past 2 weeks. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
$80. somebody probably just overspent.
Yeah.
So coming in at number 2, I was excited for this one because we haven't talked about this guy in a long time. Now, going back to the whole sophomore slump thing.
Well, it's funny you said we haven't talked about him for a long time. When I was going through I was putting up cards away in boxes, I actually like paused on Raymond. I was like, man, maybe him or Cider we haven't talked about for a while since the hype of, they'll come up every once in a while in some when sets come out. But yeah, it was interesting. I had the same exact thought when I was doing that.
Number 2 point producer this year for guys 21 and younger, Lucas Raymond. Still just 21 years old, 4th overall pick in 2020 NHL entry draft. Of course, he was teamed up with Mo Cider in 2021 Series 2, where when that came out, both their young guns were like $100 raw for a month or so.
Yep.
One of the hottest chases out of the gate. And it was really, was having a great rookie season that year. In his rookie year, he had 23 goals, 34 points, or 34 assists for 57 points. Then last season, it dropped to 17 goals, 45 points. So it's not like it wasn't a Hubertoian fall off the cliff, but it was worse.
Oh, you've given a hint to a mailbag question.
I know. Now, so far this year, he has 13 goals, 26 assists for 39 points in 48 games played. So that puts his pace at 29. So he could hit 30 goals this year. There's a chance of that. And 67 points. It is nice to see him bounce back. So I'm really happy about that. And I really think, too, Detroit could be a very fun team to watch the next handful of years. So they actually have a pretty good mix, Troy, of exciting young prospects and vets that are fun to watch, too. Right? They have, on the vet side, Dylan Larkin, your guy, Alex DeBrincat, Petty Kane. Of course, we'll see if he sticks around after this year.
Yeah.
But then you've got Cider and Raymond, a couple other guys on the younger guy side too. So kind of cool.
So
Raymond is
I was gonna say, you're talking about DeBrincat. I was watching some footage on the NHL and they're just showing him. He seems like he's way happier in Detroit than he was ever. Like I think it is truly the whole family thing, just being close to his family.
All right, Raymond is a 2021-22 Young Gun PSA 10. Troy, check this out. Top 2,836. 72% gem rate. Last sold for $46 in January 27th. Down about 13% in the past 2 weeks. So if you are excited about Lucas Raymond and you want to get into his market a little bit, I would steer clear of this card because. And you think of like what grading costs are. It's pretty hard to make. I just can't assume that this card is he'd have to be really, really, really good to do when your pop count gets 3,000 or higher.
Yeah.
Okay. We're all the way down to number 1 now, Troy. The player is 21 and under, kind of. I'll get into this in a second. Produced the most points so far in 2023-24. Timmy Stützle.
Is this controversial?
Yeah.
Now,
Gongshow drama.
Okay. To be honest, though, did he just whine enough that you finally just gave in and put him on the list?
Shots fired. Shots fired. This is what happens when you're like 10 hours into a list and you can't stop now. And it's kind of not my fault, so I'm just gonna. He technically turned 22 a week ago. Come on, Hockey still has him listed at 21. I think that they go, but like the hockey, like
when you start,
thing, it's his 21-year-old season.
Yes.
So maybe I should have like been clearer to this point on that. But so it's his 21-year-old season. We're just gonna roll with that. Unless, should we just all start this all over again?
Hold on, redo. Oh, if I had a button bar, I could do like a record scratch.
Yeah. Let me start over. He's the only 21 and under player who's technically 22 by a week. That's more than a point per game because in 44 games played, he has only 10 goals, which kind of is a bummer, but 35 assists for 45 points. And it's kind of basically, this surprised me. It's basically season 4 for him. So to be that, I mean, it's not like the math works, but man, to be that young and already have that much experience is kind of nuts. And the other thing that is a little, I don't know if disappointing, but maybe interesting. So he's number 1 point producer for a 21-year-old and under, and he's having pretty much a worse season than last year too. I mean, it shows you
Yeah.
how good he was
Yeah.
last year. So last year he had 39 goals, 51 assists for 90 points at 20. Now his pace this year is 18 goals and 82 points, so not horrible on the points part, but his goals are way down. And unfortunately, too, his team is stinks. I mean, they're
Yes.
last in the Eastern Conference with 38 points. In the entire NHL, Troy, only Chicago and San Jose have fewer points than Ottawa. It would be nice. I bought a few Stützle rookies this summer. I would love for him to maybe regain his goal scoring touch this
Hmm.
second half of this year. So, Tim, if you're listening, that'd be awesome. Still seems like though that the future is pretty bright for this kid. When you're having a down year and you're still leading all people in your age group in points, that's probably a good sign.
Yeah.
Now, Stützle is a 2020 young gun. His PSA 10 popped 3,009.
Oh.
So he's over 3,000. 61% gem rate, last sold for 116 US on January 25th. Pretty much flat. For him to have over 3,000 PSA 10s and still over $100, I think is pretty impressive. Okay, so that's the top 10. So here's my general observations, and you chime in here too. Nobody is exactly lighting the league on fire. There's nobody 21 and under that's going to score 50 goals this year or anything like that, which probably isn't a giant surprise, but it's worth noting, probably.
No 100-point seasons for anyone, right?
No.
Okay.
And then to me, if I'm looking at, okay, of these top 10, who are like the safest hobby bets, I would probably say Bedard and Stützle.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, in your opinion, like
for the safest, I'd say Bedard and Stützle. The one that intrigues me the most is Byfield, just because I wasn't a fan of him. I didn't like some of the things I saw coming out of like the World Juniors and stuff, but I'm actually intrigued with him playing so well. Like he was one of those guys I thought was just gonna be a big bust, but it seems like it's kind of turning around. I've read some articles this year on him because I think I had him in maybe Who's Hot at one point for a little bit, or maybe Struggle Bus even. But it seems like they've kind of figured it out a little bit. Now it's not like he's blowing, lighting the world on fire, but it's a good trend that I kind of want to see because he's got skill, he's got size. It's one of those guys I'm really intrigued to watch him out of all these guys.
Yeah, you're becoming a Byfield guy. That's kind of
maybe what's going on.
You know what I actually thought of when looking at his progress and then kind of the rough start he had was Slavkovsky a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Where they seem to have like a very similar start. And I don't know if Slavkovsky will.
I think Slavkovsky. Yeah, I think he had that little streak where it was kind of like, we figured it out. We're putting him on the first line, but I think he's kind of fallen back to earth a little bit. But definitely better than last year when he got injured, obviously. But
yeah, he intrigues me. And then Raymond, I just love JJP because I like saying his name. I got to be honest there. And then Raymond, probably the other guy, intrigued me.
Yeah.
And the last note that I have on this is maybe an interesting like timing thing that we should all be paid attention to. I don't know if you noticed, but a majority of these guys are 2021 young guns. And so
like
if you think about like we've talked about before, like the value curve of a young guns, the set gets released and prices are high because people think, oh, PSA 10 pop 1. Like, well, now it's 3,000 years later. But the other thing is a lot of these guys, like their markets got pretty cheap a year ago. And so if you think about, okay, is it about a 2-year span for when you talk like young guys that are starting to produce points at the NHL level that maybe you hold out and you wait on that sort of initial hype when the set's released, and then year 2 when they're sophomore slumping it or whatever, that's a good time to buy, and then for that third-year rebound kind of situation. We're going to move on to new product releases, right? Very, very excited for this next conversation. One of my absolute favorite sets of the year is coming out on February 7th, I believe. O-Pee-Chee, we're talking about. O-Pee-Chee paper, as we affectionately call it. I assume I know it's one of your favorite sets too.
Oh, yeah. I love it. It seems like it keeps getting off the rails more and more every year, and I love it even more and more.
RNH on the box cover this year. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Did he like pay to have why did they select him? That's a weird choice, I think.
You kind of feel
but
bad.
I like it's different. It's not McDavid.
Not Ovechkin or Bedard.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a temptation to put Bedard on every single box, but
Oh yeah.
all right. So we have the checklist. We have a bunch of design previews, and so we're going to dig in and we got to critique this now, Troy, because this is one of our main
Yep.
sets. The first thing, if you're not totally familiar with O-Pee-Chee paper, is it's got a enormous base set.
Yes.
I don't know how
Tons of
there's
cards.
600 base cards. So anyone that even has thought about the NHL in the past year, you get a base card in O-Pee-Chee, which we like to, because not that the number ever means anything, but I just think it's fun for us to track. There's 7,617 unique cards in the set. That's we look at what Stature will have. Well, used to have 2,400 until they
Yeah.
came up with 9,000 parallels. But
Yeah, it seems like they the average is probably in that 3,000, 3,500 range.
so O-Pee-Chee paper will be the biggest set that's
Yeah.
produced. There's no chance any other set is bigger. The first 500 cards are standard player cards. So that's basically veterans.
Yep.
There's a blue border parallel. It's 1 in 3 hobby packs, a red border, 1 in 18 hobby packs, a purple border, like we're showing on YouTube, which is out of 49. And then they have 101 printing plates. They also have the famed red border blank back. So remember, when you're opening O-Pee-Chee and you see a red card, flip it over, because
Flip it
if
over.
it's blank, it's a 101. Not a ton of parallels, which is nice, but okay, what's your thoughts on just the base card design this year? Do you like sort of the
Yeah, it looks fine to me.
vibe of it?
I don't love it. I don't hate it. Just it's there.
Yeah. Now the next 100 in the base set are a mix of all-stars and rookies. So you have 40 all-stars and 60 rookie cards. The rookie parallels or do include, they have the standard parallels, but then there's some additional rookie ones. So there's a rainbow foil out of 350, the black rainbow foil, which I think might be new, out of 100, green rainbow foil out of 33, and gold rainbow foil which is a 101. Okay, go back to the base one and the Bedard.
All
We
right.
got to talk about.
There's Bedard.
They seem to use this picture a lot, don't they?
Yeah, it seems like I when I just clicked on it, I was like, I feel like I've seen that before. And I will tell you, when I sat down and did my filing away of all my cards and my base, and oh boy, I just never realized how often pictures are reused from even previous seasons. It was pretty eye-opening.
Yeah, so a guy on Instagram has reached out to us that actually is a photographer that has had 600, 800 images on
Oh, that's
hockey
cool.
cards.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I was thinking maybe we should have him on at some point.
Yeah.
Kind of fun. Talk to a guy like that. Okay, now a little bit on the checklist. So some people have asked about various sets, and with 2020, 2023, 24, it's been a little iffy who's been, flagship. Not every
Mhm.
rookie's in it, but all the big rookies are in O-Pee-Chee. So of course we have Bedard, because you're looking at his base rookie card right there. Adam Fantilli, Logan Cooley, Luke Hughes, Matthew Nyes, Leo Carlson. And can we kind of say this now without being total homers? That Brock Faber, is he a legit big time
I think
rookie
so.
at this point?
Hey, he's in there's a number of articles coming out, not just by Russo and Joe Smith, the Wild Athletic guys, about Faber. He's a legit candidate for the Norris Trophy this year, which is pretty wild. And Calder.
One of the things why I love, or one reason why I love this set so much, is I'm typically a really big fan of the retro cards. So all 600 base cards get a retro design, and then it comes with a couple parallels too.
There we go.
So what do you think of the retro design this year? Do you like it?
Yeah, I love it. I really dig this crazy rainbow color stuff, but it's like old 70s colors. And
Yeah.
if anyone watched Parks and Rec, there's one episode where they did a design contest to redo the logo and everything, and they go back to a 70s logo. These colors kind of remind me of that. I like it.
There's 3 basically parallels. There's the black border out of 100, which is a really popular card. There's the Connor Bedard, if you're
Hey,
watching.
it's the same picture. Wow.
It's like he's getting hugged by some sort of 80 or 70s TV thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then there's retro blank backs as well. Those odds were not announced. And then there's printing plates too. So that's kind of the base design. So I think so far so good. I'm happy.
Yep.
You're happy?
Yep. Happy.
All right, now let's look at inserts. While not very valuable, Troy, I always look forward to the playing cards.
Yeah, these are. I love the playing cards.
Very, very fun. There's 54 cards, of course, like in a deck of playing cards.
Yep.
Cards 2 through 10. So there's a 2 of hearts, 2 diamonds, 2 spades, 2 clubs, right? Those are like 1 and 5.5 pack odds. Now, jacks through kings are 1 in 34 pack odds. Aces are 1 in 101 packs. And then Joker is 1 in 203 packs. So, one thing to know too about the playing cards, only veterans, no rookies. The aces are Ace of Clubs is Ovechkin, Ace of Diamonds is Matthews, Ace of Hearts, McDavid, Ace of Spades, Crosby. Kind of makes sense, right? The big four. Now, the Jokers.
Oh, controversy here.
Yeah. Bowie white sweater and Bowie green sweater.
I'm all about Bowie.
Is the whole gritty thing dead? Did Bowie just like kill the whole gritty vibe?
Yeah, what happened? Like Gritty and Bowie should be forever the Jokers until another deranged mascot comes into the mix. But I wonder why they went with just Bowie.
There's also the O-Pee-Chee Premier inserts. So these are like typically thicker cards, and like the foil ones are they're a lot thicker. They were last year. I like these O-Pee-Chee Premiers. There's 100 cards in the set, so it's a pretty big set.
Yeah.
There's the Diamond Rainbow Parallel that's out of 75. That's probably the one to collect there. All the key rookies are represented in O-Pee-Chee Premier. So if you're into those. The next one is probably my least favorite cards in O-Pee-Chee. I don't get these at all. It's the trophy winners. And I'm not a huge fan, even though they're not. I just get like the whole manufactured patch vibe.
Yeah, I think these are a throwback though, because like in the 80s, they had all the O-Pee-Chee always had the trophy cards. So I think this is like the new take on the or not new. These have been in O-Pee-Chee before, believe me, like last year, 2 years ago, these manufactured. I just don't. I pulled one, I think, ever, and it was a Michael Pekka. And I just like, okay, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this one, but I actually sold on eBay for 99 cents.
Well, and that's the crazy part too about O-Pee-Chee is that the odds of hitting these are crazy.
Yeah.
Like the most common is the Vezina Trophy. It's 1 in 786 packs.
Yeah.
And there's 3 chases. So there's a Ted Lindsay Trophy, one that's out of 4,500 packs.
Wow.
That's Austin Matthews. And then Patrice Bergeron is the Frank Selke Trophy, 1 out of 4,500 packs. Then there's a mascot one. What trophy mascot?
Deranged Mascot Award. Bowie.
Bowie, 1 in 4,500 pack odds.
That's fantastic. Now I want that one.
Yeah. Just don't buy it right away because I'm sure someone will get $100 for it. That'll be 30 cents a year later. So kind of got that one out of the way. Not my favorite, but some people probably love it. And so more power to you. Now we get into some of my favorites. Platinum previews. Love platinum previews. 9 players on the checklist. So I always look to see where rookies are on it. You got your like standard guides: Austin Matthews, Ovechkin, McDavid, Kirill the Thrill, our guy Kaprizov, Cale Makar. 3 rookies, Troy. Connor Bedard. Big time note here though, really important. Team Canada uniform.
Interesting.
We need to break that down a little bit. My theory on that is Upper Deck doesn't want to cloud any of the momentum for the O-Pee-Chee Platinum release.
Gotcha. Yes, agree. They want the Platinum preview card. They want the O-Pee-Chee Platinum card to be the first one in his NHL jersey, not the preview that's in O-Pee-Chee. I agree.
It has to be the answer.
Yeah.
Then, of course, I got Logan Cooley, Roll the Boat, Sky Yuma, Go Gophers. Love that. And then Yaroslav Askarov, really. It's like, and I know these get done a long time ago, but no Fantilli, no Leo Carlson, Yaroslav Askarov.
I'm guessing they wanted a goalie, and he was probably the most hyped goalie in the rookie class once the cards came out. So,
at this point, Levi or Dustin Wolf would probably be even more desirable than that. Tons of parallels like you expect with O-Pee-Chee Platinum. So you got Rainbow Parallel, Blue Tracks, Violet Pixels, Matte Pink, Cosmic, Red Prism, Seismic Gold, Orange Checkers, Emerald Surge, Golden Treasures. Now, one thing to note too about Platinum previews are a couple things. first of all, like Seismic Gold's out of 25. So
Yeah.
they reduce the print runs a little bit on those, and then they're not as valuable as O-Pee-Chee Platinum
True.
cards.
Very true.
But it does one of the things though that I like about Platinum Preview is it gives you a design preview of O-Pee-Chee Platinum. So do you like how and it's always sort of the O-Pee-Chee paper design translated to that chromium finish.
Yeah.
But looking at this must be Austin Matthews Cosmic, I would guess.
Yeah, it has to be a Cosmic.
I think it looks pretty good, don't you?
Looks good. I'm not a Cosmic. I think like as long as they got rid of our Under the Sea one, whatever that was.
Troy dogging space only on the Hockey Cards Gongshow. Now, my absolute favorite cards, and I've never had one, but my dream is to hit one of these. The Marquee Rookies 3D inserts, the lenticular. So a little bit of a jambalaya versus like Hot Shots vibe or Hot Numbers vibe. Love it. Hobby pack odds 1 in 864 packs. 12 players on the checklist. So Bedard again will be back in the Blackhawks uniform. That's an awesome looking card.
Yeah.
Big fan of this card. Want one, but I'm sure it's going to be stupid expensive. Then you have Devin Levi, Jacob Pelletier. He's a Flames rookie. Matthew Nyes, of course, roll the boat. Sky Yamago Gophers. Logan Cooley, his Gophers buddy. 2 Gophers.
Nice.
On the 12. That's good. Luke Hughes, Matthew Coronado, Marco Casper of the Red Wings, Owen Beck of the Canadiens, Tyson Forrester of the Flyers, Dustin Wolf of the Flames. Again, Yaroslav Askarov, but no Fantilli or Leo Carlson again. That's kind of a bummer there.
Mm-hmm.
3 Flames out of the 12 cards in the Marquee Rookie 3Ds.
Well, now every time you're in breaks, now the Flames will be desirable instead of everyone like they're the throw-in at the end. I don't know if that's the case with the newer sets that have been coming out, but I think it was like the 21, 22 stuff. It's like Flames. Who wants them? Or maybe the 2020 stuff.
The Woodies, they have those back again.
Yep.
I don't think they announced the odds. There is a parallel made out of cherry, which is kind of interesting. Bedard is on the checklist for that card. Boy, it's such a slippery slope talking about this card. This is the one other card though. He's in Team Canada.
Okay,
we're gonna move on. You also get a number of base variation cards. So like there's like a hats off, there's photo variations, warm up jersey.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's right. We'll move on to the bounty program. So O-Pee-Chee has a bounty program. It's a puzzle bounty, 9 pieces. Pack odds to get one of the 9 pieces are 1 in 96 packs. So probably not like the hardest.
No, not the hardest
bounty program to complete. The reward for completing it is you get a Connor Bedard top rookie card. There are a couple of parallels that will be awarded to people that finish the bounty fastest. So the first 25 get an autoed version out of 25 of the Bedard top rookie. Then the first 10 get a black parallel of the same card out of 100. So I'm assuming how that works then, if you're like the second person, you get both. You get both the auto and the... Because I looked at their wording like 40 times. And it says first 25 get the auto version, first 100 get the black parallel. When you think that?
I think so. I was trying to look at, do they have it up yet on the, no, they don't have it on the Bounty Pro site yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because that's where they usually
until it comes out.
Yeah. And that's where they usually spell it out. I guarantee you these are going to get, what do you think? First week they run through.
First day.
These people are, people are going to buy cases of this and go through it and get these right away.
If you get a box and you get one of these like first day, put it on eBay instantly.
Yep. And for a ridiculous
you'll get good money for it. You'll get good money for it. Okay, one of the things that I thought, and I used this image as our one of our social posts yesterday, and people seem to like it, is I thought, well, going forward for some of these, for these 2023-24 sets, given there's so much interest in Connor Bedard, maybe we'll do kind of a quick rundown of how many cards. I counted 34 unique cards in O-Pee-Chee. Now, that does include some 101, so it's not like you can necessarily collect all 34.
Yeah.
But you have his Marquee Rookie, and there's 10 parallels, so there's 11 total there. There's the Retro Marquee Rookie with the 3 parallels, and again, those include the 101 too. There's the 3D Marquee Rookie, which is a card I really want. O-Pee-Chee Premier and the parallel out of 75, the Platinum Preview, which has 10 parallels. Now remember, Team Canada uniform for Platinum Preview, the wood variant with the parallel Team Canada as well, and then the top rookie bounty cards. So that includes the bounty cards as well. But yeah, we're talking about the other or episode or two ago about how these guys are starting to get like 1,000 rookie cards. When you see stuff like this, and this isn't a knock on Upper Deck, I don't think they're overdoing it by any stretch, but this is how you very quickly get to 1,000 cards.
Yeah,
in my mind. Right now, 2023-24 O-Pee-Chee is pre-selling for $90 on David Adams, 105 Canadian and Clausen Chara, so much better deal in Canada right now.
That hurts my wallet, man. I want my $50 box coming out, and then it drops to like $30 a box.
That's pretty steep for O-Pee-Chee paper. Box configuration, you get 18 packs a box, 10 cards per pack. Now, what to expect in a hobby box, you get 1 base set red border, 3 O-Pee-Chee Premier cards, at least 1 rare chase card. So that would be like a trophy card or Marquee 3D rookie, something like that. 4 playing cards. So what's your thoughts on the 90?
I hate it, but I get it. And at least they didn't go over 100. They had to keep it under 100, probably was their thought. So this is kind of a close number.
But like 75, I think, would have been better.
Yeah, I hate 90, but I'll still buy a box.
But maybe to the smartness of Upper Deck, it's not enough where I'm out. Like where I'm seriously considering being out on Series 2, where because 300 just seems like way too much to me.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, so overall, you now after going through this, kind of going through the checklist, going through the designs, you excited about it?
Yep. No, very excited about it. I'm always excited about it, but this nothing here. I mean, besides the base being kind of blah to me, everything else looks really nice, and I love the kind of the retro design that they pulled out. So, I
think you did a good job in this one. So. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna get into mailbag, but before we do, just a really quick mention for Gongshow partner and sponsor PWCC. Of course, we're thankful for them for their support of our show. The current PWCC weekly auction is live, runs through this upcoming Sunday evening. Make sure you log on to pwccmarketplace.com. There's almost 200 hockey cards in the auction, some really, really nice ones. We'll review our favorites on Thursday's show. And then also be sure to tune in Sunday nights to the YouTube collaborations we do with Jeremy Lee on his channel Sports Cards Live, starting at 8:30 Central Time for our PWCC Weekly Hockey Watch Party. We cover all the best hockey cards ending in the auction. It's an awesome time. I have a lot of fun doing it. It's fun to interact with everyone in the chat. So, again, hope to see you there. And then just one other thing, if you're looking maybe for some cards today, you don't love auctions, you want to just do fixed price stuff, PWCC has a really big fixed price marketplace, over 5,000 hockey cards to choose from. Again, at pwccmarketplace.com. Mailbag time.
All right.
Another round of pretty good, tough questions, like thought-provoking questions, make you think. Okay, first question. Instagram, The Real in the Cards. Create a new end-of-the-season award and name it after a player. What's it called and what's it for? So this was hard because I kind of feel like the NHL has an award for everything already. So I really had to think on this one, Troy, and I came up with the Team Mood Trophy.
Okay.
Rolls off the tongue. Awarded to the rookie that scores the most goals.
I like it.
Okay, what's yours?
So I went the negative route because that's what I do. I came up with the Huberdeau Trophy. Yeah, it's the Huberdeau Trophy given to the NHL player with the greatest decrease in point production from the previous season. So unlike Comeback Player of the Year, we're going the opposite way. We are going to give you a trophy if you do so bad compared to your previous year, but there has to be like a minimum number of games. I don't know if we're doing percentage, if we're doing points. I didn't get that far. But if you want to go the positive route, I am really curious if there will ever be a trophy that comes out around maybe some more of the advanced analytics stats. Instead of most goals, maybe it's the goalie with the highest expected or goals against versus expected. Stuff like that is really intriguing to me. Like if they will ever go that route, I doubt it, but it would be interesting if they did.
The Rodney Dangerfield Award for the most high danger chances or something.
There you go. The no respect, the player that gets the least amount of respect.
If
I
we, if
love
we haven't
I love
aged
the
ourselves already on this show,
yeah.
our back-to-back Rodney Dangerfield references pretty much sealed that one for us, Drew.
Oh,
Next question, Instagram, Top Shelf Cookie Sniper 88. He has two questions. First, how much will a great all-star performance boost a player's cards? You got an answer on this one.
I was thinking about this, and I honestly, now with what the All-Star game is, I don't think it's that much. It's just really a souped up skills competition. And I think the game itself, while they try to make exciting, and I can't even remember what they're doing this year for the actual game, if it's a 3-on-3 tournament or what they're doing, but it's not like it used to be. I think it'll draw interest from people that maybe are on the periphery of interest in hockey and collecting, and they might not know them that much about of all the good players. But to me, it's just kind of watered down, and it just brings some really periphery recognition. But I don't think it moves markets.
You mean the beach volleyball competitions last year?
That was awesome. Yeah.
All right, Jay's second question. Can you give us an idea about how much time you put into an episode? I always think it's kind of embarrassing how much to some degree. It's a lot. If I had to guess, I think between the two of us, maybe 20 hours an episode, probably.
Yeah.
So our show's not the type where you just sit down and BS. And sometimes I really wish it was, but I don't. We do a lot of research, and I think because we both like it, and I think that's the positive side of it is
Yeah.
that we're spending a lot of time, but it's number one, we think it's fun, and it's stuff that we're interested in learning about. So all the research I do is stuff I get to learn, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I think you're dead on. And then you take, I don't know, 2 episodes a week, so 40 hours an episode, or 40 hours per week. Seems about right. A little more, a little less sometimes, depending on what the content is. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of work. And actually, right now, Josh, you do more work than I do, because I get to use I have to go coach hockey excuse half the time to do stuff.
We'll make it up this summer.
Yeah, this summer's when I have to come back with a vengeance, I guess.
Yeah, taking it easy on you. All right, Instagram, RJR Cards. If you were to compile an index of hockey cards to gauge the market with 10 to 20 cards, which ones would you pick? All right, so I kind of get all excited about these questions.
Yeah, so I just said you're our resident hockey card index maker, so I'm going with what you say.
All right, I'm going to give you my cards, and I think I picked 12. Now you tell me, you critique it. You give me be honest, right? So the top 12 cards that most represent the hobby market, I did 1951 Parkhurst, Gordie Howe, PSA 6. You can't do like PSA 8 because they sell once a year.
You need it to sell. Yeah, you need it to move.
Then I did 1955 Parkhurst, Jacques Plante, PSA 7. 66 Topps Bobby Orr, PSA 6. 1979 O-Pee-Chee, Wayne Gretzky, PSA 8. Mario Lemieux rookie, 85 O-Pee-Chee, PSA 9. 86 O-Pee-Chee, Patrick Waugh, PSA 10. Then I did 0506 Ovechkin Young Guns, PSA 10. 0506 Crosby Future Watch Auto out of 999, PSA 10. 15-16 McDavid Young Guns, PSA 10. 16-17 the Cup Austin Matthews out of 99. 2019-20 O-Pee-Chee Platinum Kale McCarr Seismic Gold out of 50. And then 2019-20 SP Authentic Jack Hughes Future Watch Auto out of 999, PSA 10.
Yeah, it's so hard because you can make. There's so many
I didn't want to just do Young Guns for every.
Well, I like how you could. That would be another index, though. You could have. That's kind of what Market Movers does, right? Where they put Young Guns, and they do it by year, and they have an index created like that. But just to give an overall general feel, and it's hard because 50 years or 70 years of hockey cards, they go back hundreds of years of hockey cards if you want to get just 10 to 20. That's one good shot of what the hockey card market's doing. And Card Liars talked about how hard it is to put together these indexes. Because like you said, you can't have a card that doesn't move ever because that just doesn't do anything. So I like this as a start.
Well, we've had talks with somebody about maybe doing a Gongshow index. And part of me really, really, really wants to do it. But I'm afraid that I think like to do it right would be a insane amount of work.
Yeah.
And then I'm totally fearful of everyone crapping on my So just being honest. All right, Instagram 86 collectibles. If you got to play in any era, which era and why? You can go first, Troy.
I would lean towards the late 90s to mid 2010s because I am completely biased. And if I was any good at hockey, that would have been my playing years. So my NHL career would have been during those years. So I think it's kind of fun imagining playing against all the guys that I watched when I not just as a kid, but some of these guys have been later in their careers, but as I, run to college and those mid 20 ages. Plus, I would have got to play against Gretzky, and I'm assuming I'd have been a goalie, but I wouldn't get peak 80s Gretzky. So he wouldn't have scored and embarrassed me every night for 10 goals. It would just be like a couple points somehow.
You would have got the turtleneck era.
Yep, I'd have got turtleneck era Gretzky.
I would probably pick today because I'm shallow and you make the most money.
We should, you know what? I would love to go back and look at that because I could have swore like 20 years ago, some guys were making 10 to 11. Am I just crazy? Like I could have, and maybe I'm crazy, but for some reason I thought the NHL, their cap had just like really constrains like salaries now, but
California Dave. Next question, Troy. In my opinion, did I cut you off?
No. I was just saying California, and I just started thinking about the complete garbage fire that is, or dumpster fire that LA is right now.
He says, in my opinion, some of the most exciting short print cards I've seen out there are 16-bit Black Future Watch Autos, Fanimation. What cards, not necessarily the most valuable, but get you fangirling when you see them? Well, I think that's a great list.
Great list.
And this is probably totally recency bias, but I do love the 3D marquee rookies from O-Pee-Chee paper. And then I would throw like Young Guns acetates on there too. I really like those cards. But anyone else you would add?
Can I throw an all-time Future Watch acetates? Would that be? Would that make this list? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I like those a lot. There's others. I just didn't have enough time to look up every single one that I really like. Like my ones that I brought up last week. My favorite Cole Caulfield one. Shooting the puck in the spaceship. Provisions, yeah. Because those are unannounced. I love those.
Instagram, Jay McCleb. Do you think Gavin McKenna will bring the same hype as his cousin, Connor Bedard, when he arrives? I don't know. I don't really think so. So McKenna is 16 years old. He's a cousin of Connor Bedard. And he's doing well. He's good. Sounds like he's a good player. But I just think that we heard Connor Bedard for like it felt like a decade before he was drafted. And I just don't feel like McKenna is in the sort of the lexicon yet of the hobby. So it doesn't mean he's not going to be a good player. I just don't think that I'm not sure anyone will have the hype that Connor Bedard has had. Even like Macklin Celebrini doesn't have the.
Yeah, they'll be interesting because I just Gavin McKenna. I've heard the name. Honestly, I didn't realize. I mean, he's pretty good. 63 points in 41 games with Medicine Hat. He's in the WHL. We have a WHL scout on call. We can call anytime and talk about
George Ross.
Yeah, George Ross, if we want to talk to him about him, but maybe in a couple of years.
We'll see. Instagram, mbron8 won a 2020-21 UD the Cup hobby box. Would you open or hold it for a few years? Wow, that's pretty awesome to win a box of the cup. I would probably hold it or sell it, to be honest. I just, the way I look at the cup now, we've never opened the cup. Someday I probably want to do it once just to have that experience. But when you have $1,000 box where you could get a $10,000 card, but you could also get $100 worth of cards, I just think to sell that for $1,000 or whatever it's worth and you can buy a really cool card for $1,000 that is a guaranteed, win in whatever your collecting sort of preference is. I'm a total degenerate hockey card collector, so I'd probably open it. But the smart thing to do in my mind would be hold it or sell it. What do you think?
This is when you think about what we talk about a lot. Take the win and sell it or hold it. And if you want, that could be take a win too. And hopefully it increases in value. But like you, I'd want to open it, but the smart thing is to sell or hold.
Next question is from Instagram, Bin Cards. This is an interesting thought. Never even crossed my mind before. What if everyone acted financially rational and didn't rip? Obviously, it'd be less fun, but how could Upper Deck change? Could they host rookie singles auctions like on Whatnot, I guess, or as new releases? It would be like Bizarro World. A very interesting perspective there, kind of like the surrealist version of the hockey hobby. hard to imagine because when you really think about like what drives this for all of us, it's that lottery fantasy, whether you open up boxes or you buy the single for $3 that's worth $1 million someday, right? That's kind of the whole thing that I think is so compelling about collecting. But yeah, I mean, if people stopped ripping boxes, I can't think of a better alternative than doing like a whatnot esque like singles auction in its place. So
Boy, you think Upper Deck has pricing power now? Imagine if they could do this. They would
yeah.
have, even if it's auctions, they would control everything. At least they control some stuff, but with all the boxes that they do put out, that helps bring down price a little bit, even though we don't see it a lot and we complain about pricing lately. But if
Mhm.
there was no boxes and they just could auction off singles whenever they felt like it or sell singles on a buy it now marketplace, I don't think we want that. But it's a
Like a
great
Bedard
question.
high gloss.
Oh my God. It's
And
a great thought exercise, but
Mhm. Last question from Instagram, Calder City Sports Cards. Could the Bedard hype backfire in Upper Deck and actually do more harm to the growth or expansion of the hockey card market than help it? Upper Deck's quality control has been consistently awful for several years now, especially on young guns. 2023-24 Series 1 showed no signs of improvement, but it's largely flown under the radar because it's hockey. There'll be way more breakers, influencers, content creators dipping into hockey to chase Bedard and post. Instead of being a reason to expand long term into hockey, could more eyes watching people hit damaged Bedard young guns and other high end hits out of expensive products combined with folks with larger megaphones complaining to their thousands of followers or viewers about it turn people away from hockey before they ever really get there? Sure, Upper Deck will print money hand over fist as long as they release 2023-24 products, but what if after that enough hockey collectors are turned off due to being priced out of this year and much of the potential new entrants are turned off due to consistently damaged hits? It's a interesting thought, and I get so conflicted when it comes to quality control because Troy, there's that double-edged sword to it,
yeah.
right? We know that they produce tons of young guns, and when we talk about it all the time, you look at like who guys today and Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes to me is the best example. He's as exciting of a young prospect as we have probably right now, and I think his young guns is unbuyable
Yeah.
because it's like a 74% or whatever gem rate, and you can't control the population of that card because of that. And so it really, really sucks when you buy an expensive box of cards and you see a big hit and the corner's dinged
Yeah.
or the edge is bad. It's awful. I hate it. It sucks for everybody, us included. The flip side of that, though, is if you want these cards to be valuable over time, you have to have some way to create scarcity. And in a weird way, the fact that those 36% gem rates help to create that scarcity over time. So I don't know what the answer is there, but it's like when you solve one problem, it makes the other worse. What do you think?
I agree with your thoughts on all the quality control stuff. What I'm thinking about, part of his question was, does it turn people off watching breaks and seeing damaged cards? I don't know the answer to that, but it's such a great thought question that it probably does some people, but others, especially with this chase, I don't know if it will. Because a lot of times, not a lot of breakers call out the issues they see on the card right away. We know a couple that do. Like they'll see a card and like, oh, this one's jacked up, and they'll show it to the camera. But
Sure.
some just move on and keep ripping. Yeah, this you can almost do a whole show around this question or a whole segment. It's really good.
We're also at a little bit of disadvantage in answering this too because we don't pay attention enough to football cards or basketball cards or baseball
Yeah,
cards to know what kind of quality issues they have and if it's comparable. Like I know I've watched like Prism basketball be open that has horrible centering issues at
yeah.
times. So I just don't know. But a great question and good thoughts, and thank you for that. Okay, personal pickups. We're gonna switch the order because you don't have any again, but you kind of do. We'll get into that in a second. So I picked up another 2002 Topps Heritage Chrome out of 667. It's a Eric Lindros
Oh, hold on. I gotta show it
card.
for you. There it is.
There it is. I think I'm just gonna collect all the players I like of this set because I like it so much. So excited to get that one in. And then another one that I bought a week or two ago, the Timu Solani, which is like right here. Hey Timu, how's it going? It was kind of cool. The eBay seller messaged me, and at first I'm like, oh no, what's the problem? And he's like, hey, you're Josh from the Gong Show, and I'm like, I am, and he's like, oh cool, I'm gonna send you and Troy a gift, which is very gracious and so kind. The
You
guy's name
don't
is
have to
Nick.
do it. No one has to do that
No one
ever.
has to do it. So he sent me a gift where we're gonna show, and then we're gonna do a live reveal of your gift because you don't have a personal pickup, and
Yep.
I don't even know what it is. So it'd be kind of fun to see what it is. So what Nick sent me is a 1994-95 Topps Finest Bauman's Best Mike Modano. I think it's a refractor. Did you
Nice.
get the image for that I sent you?
Oh, you sent me the image? Sorry.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I sent it last minute. I sent it your email.
Was it my email? All right, hold on.
We need a button about. We need like what we need
Now
is
the
the
like Gong Show. No, I didn't get an
12
email.
hours
I didn't get an
later.
email.
Oh, okay.
You sent it to the right
It's a
one?
really cool card. So we'll show it later.
Next week.
We'll do your live reveal.
All right, let's see it.
What did Nick? Oh, and Nick's eBay store is game dot. It's 7, but it's the number 7 EVEN dot sports cards.
Okay.
So he sent Troy. Whoa. I don't even know what some really cool 90s cards.
Are you saying he likes me more?
It's a Martin Brodeur.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Nick.
Pinnacle Zenith. Is that what that is?
It might be. And I just love the Heaton, the goalie pads he's wearing. And those are sweet. Great picture too.
Nice card.
That's the iconic Brodeur picture. Like with just the pads and the helmet with the logo that's kind of long and wavy.
It's a 1995 Pinnacle Zenith Brodeur.
Well, that's awesome.
Pretty dang awesome.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Nick, for doing that. All right, that's our show. If you like the episode, please leave a rating and review on Apple, Spotify, whatever podcast app you listen to us on. If you love the show, you want to support us, want to chat with us every day on our Discord server, please consider a $5 a month donation. Join our $1.99 support level tier on Patreon. You can go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, and click on the Become a Patron link. You can go to Patreon's website, patreon.com, and search for Hockey Cards Gong Show. There's a link in the show description for the podcast app you're listening to us on, or in the YouTube description. And then in our TikTok and Instagram profiles, there's a link there as well. We are on social media. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And Troy, the Hockey Cards Gong Show podcast is a production of Dollar Box Ventures LLC. Have an awesome start to your week, and we'll look forward to chatting with you on Thursday.